I don't think I ever felt like I belonged anywhere.
Being an entrepreneur, you have to get people to give you money, literally. I mean, they don't give it to you for free, but they kind of do, right? So you have to create this brand yourself. How the hell do you convince people to do that? Like, how did you, other than the unlogical confidence you had that it was going to work, even when you know it didn't? How do you build that brand yourself? How do you run that?
I've surrounded myself with great people around me. I've checked my ego at the door and made sure that I've just surrounded myself with people that are going to elevate the business and hopefully elevate all the people in the business and put ourselves in a position where we're super successful in front of that. And I think from a leader, that's the best thing I can actually do.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the More You Pod. More you, less. The key, figure out how to get more you, man. You got to be selfish. We got to do what you want. We're going to interview
Totally right.
people like CEO Dom. He calls me Dr. Ben. I'm going to call him CEO Dom about how he makes himself more himself. How do you get more out of your time? We only have so much time in this world. Dom, welcome.
We need to, no, thanks, man. Thanks. I don't know if to be excited or scared.
It should be a little bit of both.
All right.
A little bit of both.
You're going to dig right in?
You know, while we're starting off, we got to thank MD Hyperbaric, the one and only, not the one and only, but the best hyperbaric oxygen chamber company out there, kind of putting them in doctors' offices everywhere, really.
Yeah, we're in process of putting one in our Chicago office. And for anybody out there that doesn't, look, I'm the non-medical guy, but what I can tell you is I've been in a hyperbaric chamber and it is really awesome. You want to talk about like up and coming ways to get more you out of you. This hyperbaric chamber world is incredible. Ben, I know it does all kinds of great things.
I mean, I'll tell you what, insurance pays for some of the treatments. So you can imagine how effective, I mean, they don't pay for anything. And they'll pay for hyperbaric for certain, concussions, for wounds, from you tweak your elbow at the gym, bingo, hyperbaric, no brainer.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And MD Hyperbaric actually has the kind of chambers that have the right amount of pressure. Like those inflatable ones don't do supposedly the same thing as you get when you actually have a proper medical grade chamber.
Exactly. So the medical grade is the because that's what the studies are published on at those certain levels. So okay.
MD Hyperbaric.
MD Hyperbaric, check them out. DM me on Instagram, TikTok. If you're a provider, you want one in your office, I can hook you up with Chris. He'll get you teed up. All right, so now we're doing something a little different today. Still just as successful. We're interviewing CEO Dom to figure out how he makes more of him. Because if we could clone him, we would. We're going to figure it out. I am drinking a beer, but listen, it's a non-alcoholic beer, Groovy. They're hopefully going to sponsor season 2. We'll see, but it's not a real beer, so don't worry. I'm trying to cut back. All right, Dom, I think you kind of said it earlier. I know you. I love you. I'll take a bullet for you. But I really don't know you, Dom, so it's time to get down to it. See, one bullet. At this moment, I'd only take one bullet, so we'll see.
I appreciate that, but hopefully by the end, maybe multiple.
Yeah, that's
bullets.
the thing. Maybe it would.
Yeah.
Dom, what's your title? Like, how would you define yourself? In one sentence,
I mean, it's interesting you asked that because I never define myself professionally. I never go to a party and tell people what I do or any of those things. But when pressed, like I've been a serial entrepreneur since I was 16 and, I've started a lot of businesses. Don't be impressed. A lot of them weren't successful. But I've also started some successful businesses as well, and currently a CEO of North America's, I would say, largest medical aesthetics platform. From an earnings perspective, we have big, large clinics with some of the greatest doctors in the world, Dr. Ben being one of those. But yeah, like in my heart, I'm an entrepreneur. I always have been, and that's kind of my foundation. But more importantly than that, I'm a husband. I'm a dad of 3, and I love playing music. That's important.
See, we gotta get to that. You got to do our little jingle, by the way. I don't think.
Oh yeah. We gotta. Actually, I got tons of songs for you to listen to.
I want the jingle.
Listening
good.
time.
Think about that. There's 6 humans between us, that we're responsible for. I have 3 children as well.
That's great. And
holy
by the way,
moly.
it doesn't seem right.
Does
Like no
not
one should
seem
give
right.
me any responsibility.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, so serial entrepreneur, how the hell do you become a serial entrepreneur? It kind of sounds like, one of those scallywag guys trying to rip people off on the street or something. Like, how does that start? Nobody grows up wanting to be an entrepreneur.
I just didn't have a choice. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I was born in Chicago. And at 13, we moved to San Diego, and I started my first business when I was 16. I was actually a car detail business. And why did I start it? Because I first of all, my dad forced me to clean his cars, and like do so with like a toothbrush on the rims and these kind of things. And I learned how to actually really clean and detail a car. And at 16, I actually knew how to operate like a high-speed buffer. I could like take scratches out of a car, like these types of things. And then figured out that like I could make a lot of money from this. And so I ended up doing that. I got my buddy, my best buddy, Andreas, who I'm still best buddies with, my best buddy, Sam. I got him to do the interiors. So I would do the exteriors, he would do the interiors. And then we were doing that for a while, and I was always focused on like, let's get out there and pass out flyers and, get more business and everything. And Andreas was like way more interested in girls. And he was just like, yeah, but I'm going to be with my girlfriend and everything. So that's how it all started. And that was 16. By the time I was 17, I was promoting American bands in Tijuana, Mexico.
Ooh. See, that's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, so I brought my first.
But what happened with the car business? Did the car business lead you there?
The car business just went away because
Yeah.
my buddy Andreas was like not focused, and
He's like, chicks aren't digging this, man. We gotta
chicks,
start playing music or
more
something.
chicks, and I was like, I went off and did other stuff, but then but the kids in San Diego, we would all go down to Tijuana every Friday and Saturday night. So I don't know how many
Dom,
thousands.
we used to go to Canada from Detroit because you could drink when you were 19, so your fake IDs work better. Dom lives in Canada now, so Canada is my Tijuana. Yeah.
But in Tijuana, you could have been any age as long as you had money. And and sorry, just a quick sign of the times too. Like we would shuffle to and fro the border with no ID.
We used to come back bombed, drunk as a skunk through driving. I mean, it's horrible. I'm not promoting that. Through the whatever you call it, you'd
border.
be in jail now. I mean, or dead.
Yeah, but no ID. No one checked ID.
Yeah.
Anyways, I brought my band down there. We did great. That's a longer story, which I'd love to tell sometime. Maybe I will on this podcast, on how I actually got the Tijuana club owner to allow me to bring my band down there. Anyways, it was a very successful evening. And then I talked to the owner. I was like, what if I kept doing this? What if I just kept bringing bands down here and packed your club and got them to drink all your alcohol, and that's it. I started many, many other businesses from there. And yeah, I've been fascinated by the idea of starting something from nothing and producing something that wasn't there before and didn't exist. And I've been in love with growth my entire life, both on the professional side, but also on the personal side. I love the idea of just growing and getting better. And I've been addicted to that since I've been a little kid.
And it's interesting because you can do that through many means, but the people that do it like you did it, through the entrepreneurial side, through the creating businesses, there's a control component to that. There has to be, or I don't know if it's control or the pressure's on you. You know what I mean? You don't rely on anybody else, so it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think I ever felt like I belonged anywhere. And I think that had something to do with like coming from Chicago and to California. I was such an outsider. And you have to think about this was the 80s.
Italian kid from Chicago coming out.
Italian kid from Chicago
Yeah.
in San Diego. The culture shock was massive. And because back then there was actually such a thing as culture shock because you didn't know what was happening. There was no YouTube. There was no social media. There was no YouTube. Yeah. You didn't know. And so I always felt like such an outsider. And I've felt like that, to be honest with you, like quite a bit of my life. And so because of that, I've resorted to having to just generate and create things on my own because I didn't feel like I actually probably belonged, which is, you know, my own psychological thing for me and my therapist. But like, I think it's
this
more
is your
of
therapy
like,
now, Dom.
this is totally my therapy. And I thank you for that. But I think it's a big part of it is I've just had to just generate and create something out of nothing because I didn't feel like I belonged to the thing that was already there.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. And then, you know, again, there's something deeper in there because you can do that. Again, maybe this is for your therapist, not me. You can do that by many means. But if you like the hardest way to do it is how you did it, like to take it all on yourself. Like to have to start these business. If they fail, boom, you're done. You got to do something else. You know, you don't have any money. You got to, you know.
It's so true. And I think what happened is I have this like I don't want to say had past tense.
Don't get us in trouble.
Ridiculously high risk tolerance.
I was just going to get there. Like you got to have big balls or something.
There's a massive risk tolerance. And for as insecure as I am, I always had this thing in me that felt challenged. Like I could do it. I could totally do it. Just, I can do it. And by the way, that got me in trouble sometimes because I am the guy, and by the way, I'm a short guy. I was a wrestler, but I have been the guy that's never backed down from a fight, which has got me in all kinds of trouble. Like, when I was younger, by the way, I'm mellowed out now, but
I had a bar fighting phase as well.
There's that part, right, where I just feel like I could do it. I can make this happen. I can do it.
Well, listen, those have to go hand in hand because you wouldn't take risks. I mean, that reduces the risk in your mind. You know what I mean? Because it's not as much of a risk because you know you're going to do it. So it's. I mean, that's how it works. I think you got to have that kind of almost unrealistic sense of self-confidence to be able to take risks like you did.
But that's the oddest thing is I'm super insecure, and I think the confidence. But I would think it was the challenge butting up against to say, can't give up, can't give up, can't give up. Scared the entire time.
But convincing yourself
that forcing myself to push forward and get past it.
At what point did you say like, hey, I'm good at this entrepreneur? I mean, your car detail business.
I don't know about you, but I'm tired all the time. And the only cure for that, either some medical grade drugs or just going to the hyperbaric chamber.
It's like taking a deep breath on steroids, you know, it's like, but if they jam it in every cell. Not only that, there's an anti-inflammatory component. If you were to have any injury or surgery or anything like that, boom, science. It's that simple. It's going to make it better, faster.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that it does all these different things. Chronic pain, chronic fatigue, these kind of things. MD Hyperbaric has the right type of chambers. Don't settle for anything less than something that's more of a medical grade chamber. They are in so many different locations. Make sure that you go to mdhyperbaric.com to check them out. You could even tell them that Ben and Dom sent you from More You.
mdhyperbaric.com.
Where I felt like I was good at it was, so car detail business, did a bunch of stuff, was a professional musician for some time. After that, got my corporate polish in telecom, and then started a couple businesses. And then to answer your question, when did I think I was good at entrepreneurship? I started the first internet funeral company. And when I started that, I did feel that, I actually know how to just get up and go and just figure it out and jump over the hurdles and make something happen. And I think you have to be like a touch blind when you're an entrepreneur as well, because if you thought too hard about all the things that are going to go wrong and all the things that weren't possible, it just wouldn't happen.
And do you make a little money while you're doing that? I mean, do you get a little chunk of change where you're supporting yourself doing that?
I was making money, but to just tell you like what a crazy person I had a job in telecom. Like I had a very high end job in telecom where I had that dialed down to about 2 hours a day and was performing well.
And this is all
And
pre-kids, kids wife,
totally pre-kids. And then, no, not pre-wife. Wife was there.
Okay.
And then what happened was, no, I had 2 kids. I had my first 2 kids. And then what ended up happening is I'm working this full-time job, 2 hours a day. In the early parts of that, man, I was taking my kids to the park and I was spending so much time and it was magic. But then this thing was inside of me just burning, trying to get out. So what did I do? Started a small, tiny investment fund out of Chicago to do like bridge lending. I bought a web hosting company and then I started the first internet funeral company, all while I had the full-time job.
Yeah. That's what they said. That's what you got to do because you got to make money. You're not going to make money your first go at that. Yeah.
And I was going, and I was holding that all together for literally years. And then the funeral company was really starting to go, and I was like, okay, I need to actually get out of this job. And I did that. And so after that entrepreneurship, I actually did figure out, I was like, yeah, like I can actually do this. Like this is what I am good at.
You know, you gave me credit for building a brand, an awesome brand, which I did. But you know, as the entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur, you have to get people to give you money, literally. I mean, they don't give it to you for free, but they kind of do, right? So you have to create this brand yourself. How the hell do you convince people to do that? Like, how did you, other than the unlogical confidence you had that it was going to work, even when you know it didn't? How do you build that brand yourself? How do you run that?
I have never taken investment money where I didn't feel just 1,000% confident. Didn't mean that everything always went the right way, because it did not. But it's the authenticity. And I put my own money where my mouth was. And I won when everybody won, and I lost when everybody lost. But I was just authenticity. Like you can't fake the funk, man. Like you gotta feel it.
I think that was my same answer, really. So it's funny how that kind of lines up, right? I think we're complicated humans, but that's one thing that almost every human, you know if people are faking it, and I think you know if people are really being authentic with you. So I think there's that bonus. It's a good lesson
I think it's true.
for us, for everybody, yeah. Just to be even more of it. More of you. Be more you. More you, pod. Okay, so and now you're bringing that same brand to MSP. Can we get into some MSP details, or are we limited at all?
No, we can totally get it. So if anybody out there doesn't know, MSP is Med Spa Partners, and Med Spa Partners is the platform that I started, the medical aesthetic platform that I started first initially in Canada and then to the US. And look, this is how screwed up I am, Ben. Like I still don't look at myself at all as any kind of success. I just don't. And it's my own thing because we're not there. We're not at the finish line. There's so much more to do. But when I started this platform, it took 2.5 years of everybody saying no.
And
everyone said no.
How many clinics are we as a whole?
42.
42. I mean, that's 42, $1 million clinics all together under MSP's control now. I mean, it's a huge deal. And what year? 2000?
So we started, we actually opened our doors in 2019. It took me 2 years before
6 years.
that.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. And when Ben's talking, when Ben's talking $1 million clinics, Ben's talking like $1 million of profit type of clinics. So these are large clinics. These are some of the best doctors in the world. But everyone said no. Everyone said no. This whole idea was dead 4 times. I'll never forget the last time it was dead. It was December, and my wife was holding my head in her hands, and I was just in tears. because
You put
I
so
had
much
spent
effort, so much, yeah.
so much effort, so much time trying, believing, pushing, and it was no, no, no. And I remember that Christmas was like, I just felt gutted and a bit empty. And then January came and I went, let's go. I was like, screw this. Let's just keep going. Let's try it again. And within 3 weeks, I had a deal with a private equity fund. I had doctors starting to line up and I was making it happen.
And that was that COVID? No.
No,
Right.
that's pre-COVID.
Right,
It was
the year before
pre-COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah, and it was all happening, and I was starting to feel great. And by the way, like I was not going to be the CEO when I first put this thing together. When I first put this thing together, it was like, well, I said we should find a CEO, and then we were having a hard time finding a CEO, and then I finally said, well, I've been a CEO before. I could take this on. And then decided, yeah, I was going to take it on and make it happen. And I'll never forget, like the private equity fund made me take like psychometric testing and made me sit with a psychologist.
Oh, man.
And imagine the whole time I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to just get found out. Like I'm a fraud. Like
Dude, that's why you said you had your imposter syndrome, dude. They
did.
Tried to make you have it.
Totally. And I will never forget, it came back, like my psychometric testing came back and said, this is the perfect candidate to be a CEO of a company of like $500 million. That's basically what it said. And then the psychologist sat down with me and he told me the most incredible thing. And I hope people listening to this hear this. He said, Dom, do you know how many people walk into this office just like you? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I got one guy who is nervous every time the phone rings. I go, why? He goes, because he thinks that he's going to get fired every time the phone rings because they're going to like find out that like he shouldn't be doing this. And he's an amazing CEO. He just feels like he's not good enough. I was like, oh my God, other people are feeling that? Like, it's incredible. And it was just
about it, I guess.
It was an incredible moment.
It's something about the not ever being satisfied, like just not ever, like, dude, the name of the pod, the more you pod, you're trying to get more you, both of us trying to get more you, and we're not willing to accept it. So nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just been incredible. And then to go on this run and like Morgan Stanley's our lead investor. And I just heard the name Morgan Stanley and I was like,
I remember when I saw that, I was
a couple
like,
years later.
Yeah.
This is like a couple of years later. And Morgan Stanley and getting to sit with the Morgan Stanley guys and talk to them. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm hanging here. Like I'm here. And wow. Like it's been an incredible run that way. And I feel so thankful for all of that. Like I'm just constantly thankful, but I'm constantly getting better at what I do. I'm constantly getting more confident at what I do, which is making me get better at what I do.
I mean, you're going to get better. You can tell you're the type of personality. You're just not going to ever accept that you're as good as you can be. You're always going to get better.
No.
You're the CEO of MSP, but are you the CEO of the family? What about your wife and your kids? Like, how do you, I think.
It's a good
Tell
question.
me about that. How does that go? Yeah. How would they answer that question, I guess?
My wife is like one of the most amazing people you'd ever meet. She's so sweet and she's so caring and so loving, and her personality is the calm one in the house. Kind of like your wife, Ben, like in the sense of
makes sense. I think those are kind of the successful marriages, is kind of proven.
So much so. Like she anchors and balances the entire house. And when it comes to like our social agenda and everything like that, she's the CEO. When it comes to like pushing our kids to be better, pushing them to get the most out of themselves and striving and everything like that, that's the role I have to play.
Yeah. That's kind of the bad cop role a little bit.
It is, and it's unfortunate. And I told my kids that I don't want that role, but someone has to play it.
Somebody's got to lay the whoop ass. Yep, that's how it goes.
That's it. And I do it benevolently and whatnot. But, yeah, I'm just so fortunate that I have this family dynamic that if I didn't have this family dynamic, there's just no way I could do what I do. Like my wife is a complete enabler of my professional life.
I second that 100% as well. I mean, it's impossible. You really can't do both. Even now we can't do it. So what's your go-to for the listeners? Like MSPs, there's something going on in MSP. There's a big deal. There's a urgent meeting. You have to do it. Then you have to go home and have dinner. Like how do you disconnect?
So like MedSpa Partners takes up so much of my life because I say that I'm like a very high-end agent of like 100 high-end athletes. And that's how I look at the doctors, and I am their agent.
We're a pain in the ass.
No, it's not. It's not as much like pain in the ass. It's just that
I'm Michael Jordan.
You're surrounded. You're like Michael Jordan, actually, Ben. Ben, actually, you're like Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman all rolled into one.
I'm probably a little more like Dennis Rodman, honestly.
But I think what's interesting is that when you're surrounded by all these brilliant people, they all have all kinds of ideas. And they have all kinds of opinions and they have all kinds of things. And my job is to manage that. And my job is to help corral that energy into something that's incredibly positive. And that's why I look at my job. So because of that, my phone is texting and ringing a lot and all the time. My wife is just incredibly understanding of it. And she knows, okay, that's the thing. What you asked, though, the question, which I think is really important, is more to the point of being able to decompress and detach. And that's the part I struggle with a lot. So right now we're in my studio office. I run a company that is virtual. And we're super successful because we are virtual, because we get to some of the greatest talent from across North America. And I have about 30 steps to the door that enters the house. I understand why back in the 70s, people would stop at the bar on the way home.
So wait, is it it's a separate building?
Yeah, it's a separate building.
So you could put a little pub or something a little between them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
we could totally do that.
You could even just put a punching bag, with like the doctor's faces on it if you want.
No, but it's not. We just stop at the doctor's. Not the doctor's giving me hell. It's all good.
That's
but
true. Yeah.
It's just decompression, right? And what my wife says to me is sometimes I come in the house and she says, "Dom, you are not at work anymore, and we are not your employees." And I said, and it's not because I'm ordering people around.
Would quit. Yeah.
It's just I'm intense. I'm still super intense, and I'm a high energy guy, and I'm very intense. So I have to figure out a way to kind of pull that down.
It's not easy, but what's your go-to? What do you do?
So my go-to is a couple things. If I can end work and get a little bit of music in here, that helps.
Now,
most people don't.
Music, or are you listening to music?
Playing, playing for
like
sure.
Yourself.
Yeah,
okay, nice.
Yeah. And then I leave here a couple days a week to go off to the gym somewhat in the later part of the afternoon and come back and work again. That helps me decompress like mad. In the summer, I have a pool.
I use the gym the same way.
Yeah.
If I don't, you can tell if I don't work out. Maria will be like, dude, go work out.
For sure. But the most important thing is if I can get a meditation in the morning, and Ben, we've been sharing this kind of Wim Hof 10-minute meditation.
I love 'em.
If I get that in the morning, my buddy who's like a breathing guru, will have him on sometime. He basically said, that's like putting your armor on in the morning.
Dude, we should get him on sooner than later, I think.
I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, basically the idea of putting your armor on in the morning is that meditation. And I've noticed when I do that, I can take the day better.
But dude, I tried to do this. How do you do it? I tried. Mine was gonna be 3 minutes, by the way. I have it on my calendar, like 3 minutes, do your meditation. And I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta go. Just something happens.
Well, the Wim Hof thing is cool because it's 10 minutes and it's guided. Yeah. So he takes you to the beginning and the end. I can't do a silent meditation. I mean, I really do struggle with that, and that's my own issue. But
so you do it where? In your bed, or you go to your
No, I do it right here. I do it right here.
First, you get in your studio and you do it after your coffee.
First thing in the morning. And I make sure my phone's shut off, make sure the computer's not on, make sure nothing's on. I take the 10 minutes. I usually take time after the meditation to stay in that meditative state. And man, I'm a different person during the day. I'm just a different individual from that.
Okay, man,
So that's my hack.
See, like, you're better than me. Okay, Dom, you're a fit guy. You work out a lot. You like that image. I mean, you're not one of those obsessed image people, but you have a good image. People know that you're professional. How do you think? How are you trying to use that? Because that's also MSP has that vibe right now. I would say that we're like, if you look at us from afar or close, we're kind of like the A-listers. We're the hot group to be involved with.
We are.
How did you do that purposely? Was it like thought out from a growing your business perspective?
Yes, it was actually very purpose driven. And what I decided in the very beginning was two really important things. And for those of you that have employees, this is, I think, a really important thing to keep in mind. I told myself before the first day this started, I actually remember I spent a bunch of time writing a bunch of notes down and everything. And what I decided, first things first, was I was going to try to create a consistent environment for the people that worked with me. What did that mean was I don't come in erratic. I don't come in belligerent. I don't come in anything. It's almost like children. You want to keep a very safe space and a very consistent space for them because that's the best way for them to thrive and the best way for them to grow. So I try to keep a very even keel. Now, what my teams would all tell you about me is they're like, Dom is really intense. But they're not going to say that Dom's an asshole. They're going to say, no, Dom's really intense and he's so passionate. He's so passionate about what we're doing. And so I thought that was important. The second thing is even when we were creating the logo for MedSpa Partners, and this will be with our larger kind of brand unification. We'll get to that someday.
Yeah.
When we talk about that I wanted it to be a high-end brand. I said, because there's going to be high-end practices. We should be a high-end brand. We should be incredibly professional, and we should have the best culture on earth when it comes to a platform. And a private equity-backed healthcare has gotten a really bad name.
Yeah.
Everything. Hospitals, ophthalmology.
Private equity as
dentistry.
a whole already has a bad name, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's had a bad name. What I'm trying to do is run the most uncorporate corporation from a culture standpoint. From a business standpoint, I'm trying to run the most professional organization. But what I'm trying to do is let people be authentic, let people feel like they can make mistakes, let people feel like they can innovate by making mistakes, let people feel like they can show up to work and know what they're going to get and not get a boss who's going to go, you son of a bitch, what did you do? And blah, blah, blah. Like, this is 2025. Nobody should act like that.
I think it's good for people to hear. There's, I think from growing a business perspective, I mean, entrepreneurs are going to be listening to this because they listen to everything because they're trying to grow and get busy. And there's definitely that narrative that you got to be a dickhead to get stuff done. And it's just maybe you get that one thing done, but you're not going to grow something huge, so I like that.
By the way, that's such a great point, Ben, because I feel that by the way, I say this to everybody and I don't mind putting my hand up and saying it. I am a manager. Okay.
It's not an easy job, yeah.
I'm a manager. But I do actually believe I'm a great leader. And I think those are two totally different things. Great leaders build great teams that know how to manage really well. And what my job is, my favorite definition of leadership is the transfer of enthusiasm. The transfer of enthusiasm. I got that from this great guy named Ed Minich, former president CEO of Otis Elevators, told me that. And I thought he was so right when he said that. And that's my job. That is my job. You don't have to be. What I want to do is people go, wow, Dom demands results, but I so want to go get those results for him.
How many employees is it?
800.
Like, that's crazy. But think about it. You get 800 people stoked about going to work and fired up. Like, you can move mountains. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah, because you can easily get 800 people twiddling their thumbs. You're not moving mountains. You get 800 people stoked and ready to go. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and what I think it's about is masses. It's hard to get all 800 every single day, but if you have the mass and majority of people that are psyched and are excited, well, they can help turn those people that show up that day that actually aren't feeling great and actually don't know what's going on. But look, give them purpose, make them feel like they're treated right, make them feel like they're adults, and they'll act like adults. And they will be happy if you are authentic and let them know. And the one thing I always try to do, and Ben, you know this, I deliver good news and bad news all the time.
Yeah. I bet.
But everybody,
More than
and everybody knows with me that I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to give you the good news or I'm going to give you the bad news. Like I'm going to tell you what's going on. You're never going to guess, boy, is Dom really telling me the true story here or not? No.
Yeah. No, I mean, in that insight, the transparency, like I said, if you can get the whole crew or a large portion of the crew going in the right direction, which it feels like we are, by the way. We did our Mexico trip. I mean, people were fired up. Our what do you call it?
We had a conference. We had an annual conference.
Yeah, like the conference, the get together. I mean, that was. I always leave that thing freaking motivating. Like I could run through a wall. I'm like, let's go, when I get home.
Yeah.
I think we might need one every 6 months for the record. I don't know if you can submit that to Morgan Stanley.
Talk about the cost of that.
Yeah, you figure it out. You know how it goes.
Sure.
That does get me to a little bit of the mix of it. A little more of a technical question, but I think it's on point right now. A lot of people are thinking about it, and from a business perspective, I think we would be amiss to not talk about it. But like the tariff situation, running costs in the U.S. particularly, my friends ask me, and I'm like, I don't even know. I mean, I just do the surgeries. But has it put a kink in our step? Are you managing it or?
Not yet. I would say not yet. In fact,
because
I just got news today.
For the listeners, we're Canada and all of North America. Canada, the U.S. I guess we're not Mexico yet, but Canada, the U.S. So we do a lot of, work together, and
there's a lot going on back and forth. What I would say is we hadn't had too much. I actually just got news today that we have vendors that are starting to roll tariffs back. They had kind of put some tariff increases in. They're starting to roll some of those back, which I think is really interesting. I think.
So do you think they're eating the cost, or it's not going to happen, or they were predicting it?
Well, I think they were eating it, and maybe it's not coming to fruition quite like it did. And I also think that the market is struggling. I think the market is struggling a bit. So having more expensive products, people are just are going to see that and they're not going to want to buy it. And so no, it hasn't been as bad. And in Canada, definitely not an issue because a lot of the product is coming from Europe and Asia, and there's no tariffs, right, in Canada. But in the U.S., we were very concerned about this whole pharmaceutical kind of tariff that was being talked about, and the drug tariff. If people out there don't know, Botox is classified as a drug. Fillers are classified as medical devices, and those would get tariffs. And look, those tariffs are probably not going to be eaten by the manufacturer, and they're going to be passed along, right?
Yeah, to us, and then the patients, and then
that's exactly
it's a mess.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the life of a CEO, Dom. I want to ask you from your perspective. So, from my perspective, it's easy because there is this kind of fear mongering from fillers, Botox. I think CNN did an article about like fake Botox getting put out there. But how do you help manage that? I mean, for me, I do it. I just have a discussion with my patients, very scientifically technical. Like, listen, it can be done well. I'll show you the layer I'm putting in it, the volume. This is the reasoning. So I get on the micro scale. But what's our role? I mean, from MSP's perspective.
Yeah, I think just let me give everybody the business take on all of this, because I think there's been plenty of medical and misinformation of a medical take on all of these things. What we're experiencing right now is what a lot of industries experience, and especially in a world of social media, is giving a lot of opportunity to a lot of people to speak and have a voice, and I think that's fine, but you have a lot of people trying to speak with authority without the education to back it up, and that's actually where it gets dangerous. From a business perspective, the entire filler industry across North America is down. You're seeing
probably worldwide also, right? That's not. I mean, you have the North America data, but Europe has to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you're seeing it in a lot of different places. But if you start digging into the financial reports of the major pharmaceutical companies, Allergan, Galderma, Evolus, Merz, you are seeing that there are cracks right now from a foundation perspective. What's very interesting from a business perspective is that all of those cracks can be fixed because filler still is incredible. Filler still creates a wow. Filler still is the one thing non-surgically that you can walk out of a clinic with a, oh my God, kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. But back to you, Ben. There's the hotness factor.
Dude, get people laid, man. That's what I do.
It is. But here's what we've discovered is that when patients are just talked to by their physicians or nurses or PAs, whoever it is, and the patient says, look, this is the outcome I want. If those healthcare practitioners basically say, look, that's great, but to get that, we're going to use filler. And here's why. Most patients are fine with it and they're okay with it. It's just there's misinformation. 70% of all patients are influenced by what their healthcare provider tells them.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there, and I get it. But that's, of course, we're going to do that. So I think the question is, what's our role as a larger narrative? You know what I mean? Like, how do we drive that? I mean, me as a quote unquote influencer or whatever, I get on there and say, like, guys, these can be done well, they're safe, da da da. But it's an interesting dynamic because you can because you have the insight now, but it's hard for the business people to really get down to that micro level. Like, shit, if a Kardashian says it's not safe, is it not safe? I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess from a business perspective, I think what we're doing, and in fact, I'm proud of the fact that we're kind of leading on this. We're pulling together all our manufacturers and we're pulling together our competitors, and we're going to start talking about, getting the proper information out into people's hands. We're going to talk about how do we get proper factual information out into the public's hands? And this industry has never done that. This industry is one of the only image-oriented industries that doesn't help to drive trend, doesn't help to make the world understand the facts and figures about it. It's crazy. Man. That all needs to change.
It's interesting.
I plan on changing it.
You brought up the free speech kind of, I don't know if that's the term, free speech dilemma a little bit. Like, yeah, we can all talk, but I think it's an interesting topic. It would be, I don't know who we could have on to discuss it, but this kind of disproportionate power that some of these influencers have, or some of these people who can fake, and even if they're not doing it on purpose, authority, and then people do what they say, but they really have no authority on the topic or anything,
I think the one way I've said it in the past, and I think it's true, is that thought leadership used to come with qualifiers. To be a thought leader, you either had to have the education, accolades, or achievement to actually be a thought leader.
Now I think you just need a blue check.
This is the problem. All you need is a blue check to be a thought leader. And the thing is, that's a little bit dangerous sometimes because you're getting misinformation. Like, for instance, I should not be out in the world talking to people about the latest and greatest in neurosurgery just because I read a couple papers. I just don't have the expertise. I don't have the experience. And Ben, you were talking something when I had a chance to interview you about just this beyond 10,000 hours rule and everything like that. And I just want to put it in a quick part of this. Before I started MSP, I was working on my second book. Okay. And I was working on my second book, and the second book was basically all around how to start a business and all those types of things. And actually, I remember part of the book was like, it was just all about the do's and don'ts of business. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fair enough. At that point, I had started 18 businesses and over 25 years of business experience, corporate, entrepreneurial, everything, right? Compared to where I'm at today, that book would suck.
Yeah.
Like
And that's
that
true.
would be the
you should write a
shittiest
rebuttal
book.
to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
that would be the shittiest book ever
funny.
in my eyes, because the vast amount of experience that I've gotten from that point
Since
to
then,
this
yeah.
point is really large. And my whole point is that someone could have called me a thought leader back then, and I would have had.
I mean, you wrote a book. You were, man. I hate to tell you.
I
You didn't know
wrote
what
the
you were
book,
doing, but you
had
yeah.
businesses, was featured on, newspapers and TV and all those kind of things. But even then, I probably was not the right person to be a thought leader. And so imagine what we have out there in the world right now. And I think we're really missing that authenticity behind thought
Man.
leadership.
We're circle
We're
back
back
to
at
it.
it.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's an interesting dilemma that I don't think is going to get any better.
No,
Look,
it's not.
they're letting us two schmoes talk on here about it right now.
Exactly.
So it's true. It's crazy.
I love that.
All right, I'm going to get into kind of our last little few question spiel
Sure.
here. I'm going to try not to focus too much on MSP only. So
Yeah, please.
I want you to think about it from a business perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective, to growing a business, to running a staff, to, like you said, to motivating people. So like you asked me about the aesthetic field, what part of growing a business, being an entrepreneur, do you think is bullshit? Like what was in your book that you would remove, essentially?
Yeah. I think let me go first and foremost here. This whole idea, and I've gotten a chance to speak at universities and gotten a chance to do some things like that, as well as work with some brilliant young minds. I was an executive in residence at the Ivy School of Business up here, and got to just work with kind of these honors business students and MBAs that were doing real life consulting projects, and got the chance to help guide them on what was real and what wasn't real. But one of the things I think that has been overblown out there are two really big things. Number one is you've got to follow your passion. No, I don't think so. I think it was Mark Cuban who said this. You got to follow opportunity, because opportunity come and will sweep you up and get you to somewhere else and get you to try something and get some experience and all those things. How much follow your passion at 21? I don't know about the rest of everyone out there. I was a shit show at 21. I didn't know what passion to follow.
I've heard, and I don't know the exact phrase, but it's like, you don't have to follow your passion. You have to make what you're doing your passion. You have to become passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's really where it's at. Yeah.
And you could figure out that, hey, I don't want to do this and go do something else. That's okay too.
And just do it passionately.
Yes. But you could sit around forever, want to do that. The second thing that I think is like a real kind of thing out there is all anybody hears about is these guys built this thing, they sold it to Google. These guys took this and everything like that. I'm like, you're talking about the 1 in a million.
Yeah,
What
Mark
you're not
Zuckerbergs.
What you're not hearing about is the people grinding it out, and they've built themselves a nice business. And hey, maybe they'll find a buyer down the road for that. But this whole fantasy land of you're going to work for 2 years and sell something for $500 million is not real. Like, that's the lottery part of this whole thing. The grind part of this whole thing is getting your ass up every single morning, going to work, going at it hard, not doing it for 6 hours, not doing it for 8 hours, not doing it for 10 hours. You're going to live it and you're going to breathe it until you actually make it pop. That is how it really works.
You can't go wrong doing that. I mean, it's
No.
going to work. The grinding, it'll work, man.
No.
Yeah.
And
like
and sorry, you asked this question and I just don't have one thing, but I think there's several things here. I think the other thing is like, I hear like, not as much today, obviously, but 3 years ago, everyone was like, Elon Musk. He's the most brilliant individual. I was like, you know what Elon Musk is really good at? Elon Musk is really good at starting something and then taking credit for everything in that business. You think Elon Musk engineered everything in a Tesla? No, of course he didn't.
Yeah, there's some guy arguing that he came up with it and he kind of.
I'm sure he did, and he probably got screwed. You think Elon Musk was out there tweaking the boosters on the rockets? Like, no. Elon Musk is really good at saying, screw it, I can do it. There's no hurdles. I'm going to go make something happen. To that's where I respect him. But you don't need to be brilliant. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to be any of those things to go out and actually work your butt off to be successful. And I think that's where things have also gone a little bit awry.
Yeah, it's for the young people out there. I think right now with AI, they're saying your kids are going to go to college. It sounds like, but they're saying maybe in 5-10 years they don't need to go to college. Like, it's scary. So what do? It's a dilemma right now. But if you just grind at whatever, if you're a freaking shovel the snow in the winter and you do it really good, and you're the best show snoveler, you're going to do well. You're going to freaking make money, man. So yeah, just shovel snow really well. Yeah.
I hate to say it,
that's my best advice.
It's the oldest saying in the book, but now more than ever, you want to be successful, show up.
Yeah, true. 100%.
All you got to do is show up. By the way,
it's crazy. It is freaking crazy.
If I want to start a pool company, a landscape company, a hardscaping company, whatever company out there, if you just answer the phone and get back to people and show up at the day and time that you're going to show up, you'd be hella successful.
You're leaps ahead of your competitor, your
100%
cohort. Yeah. I'm with you. We sound like old men.
No, but it's just facts. It's just facts.
I'm with you. I get it. Okay, Dom. You asked me this. I'm going to ask you two more questions. One, what would you tell yourself? I'm going to go before the car detailing business because I don't think you could stop yourself after that. So you're 15. You're talking to yourself now, but like, this is how you set yourself up for the future. Do you do the car detailing?
You said something, sorry, it was so interesting that you said that, where you're like, I don't think I'd change anything. And I have so much admiration for you for that like you have that. I had a very windy, rough road. I was alone with just me and my brother when I was 15. My mom left my dad, and then a week later, my dad left my mom. My mom left my dad, and then a week later, my dad moved out with his girlfriend, hence a good reason for my mom to leave my dad. And we were left alone at 15. And I lived with my brother, my really mean older brother. We actually, if anyone's ever seen Weird Science, we call him Chet from Weird Science. I lived with him for 8 months and had a fend for ourselves. And it's kind of weird. We had a house. We had actually a nice house, but we didn't have any food and we didn't have any parental supervision. We didn't have any of those kind of things. So it was odd. And so I was basically 15 and kind of like on my own, and then worked my ass off to like go. I actually skipped 12th grade and went straight to college, which I highly do not recommend. It was the dumbest thing I could have done. I was 17 years old going into college and not ready for it, and met a girl that was 20 and screwed up that semester. And so
you wouldn't stop that one, I bet.
Yeah, no. I mean, that was a learning experience in many ways, but I just had a really windy road, and it was never certain, and I never felt settled, and I never felt safe, and I never felt really secure. And so in that respect, like I would want to redo on that. Like I want something a lot more secure. But when I look back on like what I would do, it's funny. So when my son went off to college, I wrote, I'll share this with you too, Ben. I wrote an entire thing for him. It was like 30 or 35 different points and I titled it Words from Your Father. And it was 30 things that I learned that he should think about. Like
Save him a couple troubles.
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 Like, these were things like, don't ever sell assets. And if you're going to sell them, put them immediately into another asset. Things like, don't take on so much debt that you can't sleep at night. Like, it's typical stuff, but it was practical stuff, and then it was financial stuff, and it was just a combination of a lot of different things. But I think for me, is actually somewhat similar to what yours was that it'll be okay. It will find a way. You don't actually need to worry as much as you're actually worrying. The worrying part is not helping. You have enough get up and go. You should trust yourself that you'll find a way.
Yeah, it just makes it less painful at the moment, but you don't really want to change so much. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so
we can't tell our old self, so we're here.
No, we're here to tell the rest, man. And hopefully, someone hears that.
Our kids, though. Yeah, exactly. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm the best jawline surgeon in the world. Hard stop. Nothing else. Nobody can talk about it. Dom, what do you do better than anybody?
Inspirational leader.
Okay, nice. I like it.
Getting
people to follow you. Yeah.
I think, and I'm not saying that because I'm saying that. I mean, that's just the feedback.
It's okay, man. You can say it. Best. You just say it and own it.
Don't let anybody... I need to own it. Yeah. I need to own it. You're so
Christ,
right.
This is going to be your therapy.
This is totally my therapy. But I do believe I can inspire people. I do believe I'm a very inspirational leader. And again, I think it's best to that authenticity thing. But I think that part of being a really good inspirational leader, I think, is also the fact that I think a very good listener. I don't think I actually have all the answers. I don't think that I know everything. And what I've told everybody is that if I've done my job really well, I should be the dumbest person in the room. I should just be the dumbest person in the room. I've surrounded myself with great people around me. I've checked my ego at the door and made sure that I've just surrounded myself with people that are going to elevate the business and hopefully elevate all the people in the business and put ourselves in a position where we're super successful in front of that. And I think from a leader, that's the best thing I can actually do, because what a lot of leaders don't realize is that we are temporary stewards. We are not kings. We are not emperors. There's no legacy. Legacy is bullshit. It's not a thing. I'm a temporary steward, and I should be the best steward I possibly can be for that. And what would a great steward do? They would do everything they can to make that thing great without actually any consideration for themselves. That's what it should be.
I think you're doing it. I agree. Full stop. And again, I think it shows that's how you get there, man. You can't do it. Nobody can do it all, but you can't have 800 employees. Like, think about the amount of work that MSP is getting done.
Yeah.
It only happens because there's 800 rock stars rolling after it all. Good. I like it.
And it's crazy to think that it started with one employee.
Yeah. 6 years ago. I mean, it's 6 years. Nothing.
It's true. It's true. It's not that long ago.
6
years. It's a good point.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right. Dom, on that note, I think we made it.
That was fun. I hope that wasn't boring. But it was fun for me.
Like you said, I'm learning, man. I mean, you got a therapy session out of it, and I'm learning. It's beautiful. I love it.
Appreciate that.
All right. I think we'll wrap it up. We did our hyperbaric shout out.
Yeah, we
more
did.
You, the More You pod. We're figuring it out. We don't know how we're getting there, but we're going to get more you, more of us, more of everybody.
And we're going to help you get more you. That's what this is all about.
That's the goal. So I don't know who we got on next. We got a couple big shot people coming up.
Big shots.
Pay attention. Listen to us. Like us. Share it. Tell your friends. If you guys like us and support it and share it, that just lets us get better people on because we can show them some money under the table.
Yeah, or actually just because they want to hang out with us because we're good guys.
Could be that too.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Signing out.